U.S. TikTok ban coming next month. Yesterday, the Supreme Court agreed to hear that case. First, though, we want to get a take on a potential government shutdown tomorrow night. The odds of that seeming to rise after President-elect Trump and Elon Musk threw cold water on Speaker Mike Johnson's stopgap spending bill. Joining us right now is Illinois Democratic Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi. He is the lead Democrat on the China Select Committee. And, Congressman, first let's talk about this potential for a shutdown. You think we'll see a government shutdown tomorrow?
I sure hope not, but as you mentioned, the chances are rising. Last night, President Trump and co-president Elon Musk basically tanked a bipartisan deal that was on the table, and we were then shut out of the negotiations. And I'm hoping that the GOP comes back today with something reasonable that we can vote on. I think that Leader Jeffries is ready to hear them out, but too many people are going to get hurt if a shutdown actually occurs.
The idea of a clean bill, is that something that you would vote for without any of the other things that have been put in from helping farmers to aid for flood victims?
Well, I think there has to be disaster aid. But apart from disaster aid, if it's a clean CR, I think that it would be fine. But, right now we have, millions of people through no fault of their own who were harmed by the recent natural disasters, and I think that the American people want to help them.
All right, Congressman, let's turn to TikTok, which is why we had you on to begin with today. This idea that the Supreme Court has now taken up the idea of whether this law is constitutional, whether it's acceptable to tell TikTok that they either have to divest or shut down. How do you think the Supreme Court is going to rule on this?
I hope and expect that they will uphold the law, just as the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals did. The clock is ticking. As my children would say, tick-tock. It's time for ByteDance to sell TikTok and allow the platform to flourish without the control of the CCP looming over it.
Even if the court does decide in your favor in this case, I think the biggest question is what President-elect Donald Trump will do. This ban goes into place the day before he is inaugurated as president.
Sure. Well, I've met with incoming National Security Advisor Mike Walls, who's a friend and colleague of mine, and I think the way they see it is very similar to us, which is they want TikTok to survive and flourish, but they don't want it to be controlled by the Chinese Communist Party. And so the best way for that to happen is if ByteDance sells TikTok right now.
So ByteDance has said, or TikTok has said, that that is not an option, that that's not going to happen. How do you think this plays out?
Well, what you pointed out is the central issue here, which is that TikTok and ByteDance repeatedly say they are not under the control of the CCP. But when pressed as to why ByteDance can't sell TikTok, they say, well, we're under the control of the CCP, and the CCP doesn't want ByteDance to sell TikTok. And as Judge Srinivasan of the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals said in his concurring opinion, we in Congress don't have to legislate around the preferences of the CCP. The ball is in their court. I think they should allow ByteDance to sell TikTok and allow it to flourish here.
Even if that were to happen, it's not a process of something that would happen instantaneously. And I do realize that in that same letter that you've sent to, I believe, Tim Cook at Apple and other places in Silicon Valley, places that you would expect they'd be taking the TikTok app off if you're successful ahead of the Supreme Court. Even if that's the case, it means that there's not going to be a TikTok come January 20th unless President Trump says okay and extends it, because this has not been set in place with or without. They've decided to fight it rather than to go along with this. Do you imagine an America where there is no TikTok accessibility for some period of time unless and until they're able to sell it?
Well, remember, on January 19th, if there is a sales process underway, President Biden could extend the period during which they can sell the company. So that's what they should do. They should initiate that process now, get as far as they possibly can, and if they have to, ask the government for an extension of time. That would be the responsible thing to do to enable uninterruption of the platform.
Again, you're not sure how the Trump administration, the incoming Trump administration, would handle this, even though you've talked with the security advisor. What was conveyed to you in that conversation?
They have a warm corner in their heart for TikTok, as millions of Americans do, but they don't want TikTok to be controlled by the CCP. And so I think right now, Donald Trump and his incoming administration could help engineer the deal of the year by making sure that ByteDance sells TikTok, encouraging them to do so. There are numerous bidders who are stepping up as we speak. I think Frank McCord of Liberty Media Group was one of them. But the point is that they can sell if they want to, if the CCP, their overlords, allow them to do so.
Congressman Krishnamurthy, thank you. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much.